Imagine waking up one morning to discover that your entire family has vanished without a trace. No one left behind a note. No calls were made. No evidence of struggle. Just empty homes and abandoned lives. How does an entire family disappear overnight, leaving the world stunned and authorities baffled? What would you do if the people you thought were safe, familiar, and ordinary simply ceased to exist? How could an entire household vanish as if erased by an invisible hand? Could this be the work of a meticulously planned abduction, something supernatural, or the result of a terrifying human conspiracy? This is the story of families who have mysteriously disappeared overnight. Cases that defy logic, challenge investigators, and haunt the imagination. From quiet suburban neighborhoods to remote rural towns, these vanishings have left communities questioning the very nature of reality and safety. Take the small town of Willow Creek. Nestled in a remote valley with tree-lined streets and perfectly kept lawns, the Matson family lived at the end of Elm Street, a classic, quiet suburban family of four. Thomas, the father, was a middle school teacher. Mary, the mother, ran a small bakery. And their two children, Emily and Jake, were bright, active, and well-loved in the community. On the evening of March 12th, the family enjoyed a seemingly ordinary night. Dinner was eaten, homework completed, and the children were tucked into bed. Neighbors recalled seeing lights on in the house late at night, windows glowing warmly. Nothing seemed amiss, but by the next morning, every trace of the Matson family had vanished. Their beds were untouched, their breakfast dishes clean, their cars in the driveway. Everything looked normal, yet they were gone. No forced entry, no struggle, and not a single clue. The disappearance baffled local authorities. What kind of force could remove four people from their home without leaving a single trace? It was a neighbor, Mr. Harris, who first noticed something strange. He had come to borrow sugar in the morning and found the Matson house silent. Usually, Mary would greet neighbors with a warm smile. The kids would be playing outside. Today, nothing. When he tried calling, there was no answer. Windows were closed, doors locked, lights were on timers, but no movement. Panic spread quickly as he alerted local authorities. The police arrived within the hour, expecting some sort of domestic emergency or accident, but what they found was far stranger. All doors and windows were locked from the inside. The family's phones and personal items were untouched, and no signs of struggle or forced entry. Pets in the home were left behind. Unbothered. It was as if the family had simply evaporated into thin air. The Matson case was not isolated. Within a span of 3 months, similar reports emerged in other regions. The Hargrove family. In a rural part of Oregon, a family of 5 vanished overnight. Neighbors reported seeing smoke from the fireplace, but when the morning came, the house was completely empty. Their livestock remained, their cars parked, and the mailbox full of unopened letters. The Alvarezes, a family of 4, disappeared from their city apartment in Chicago. Security cameras recorded nothing unusual, just normal activity the previous night. Yet by dawn, every trace of them had vanished. The Bellamy household. In an affluent suburb of Dallas, the Bellamys vanished during a stormy night. Neighbors later reported seeing lights flicker. But when the storm passed, the home was emptied. In every case, investigators were confronted with the same eerie pattern. No struggle, no evidence, and no immediate explanation. Each family vanished overnight, leaving communities in shock. Authorities and experts floated several theories, though none fully explained the phenomenon. Abduction by organized groups. Some believe the disappearances were orchestrated by highly skilled criminal organizations. But the logistics of removing entire households without detection seemed impossible. Supernatural forces. Local legends spoke of vanishing points or cursed lands where people could disappear mysteriously. Though unverified, the theory gained traction in small towns with historical folklore, government or secret experiments. Conspiracy theorists suggested involvement by secret agencies, experimenting with unknown technologies. While sensational, some unexplained elements, like perfect timing and lack of evidence, made this theory compelling to some. Psychological or mass delusion. Experts argued that perhaps in some cases, communities collectively misreported sightings or memories, but multiple cases across states made this explanation weak. What if the true cause was something no one could explain? Something beyond human comprehension? In the Madsen case, investigators conducted a thorough forensic sweep. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints outside the family's own, doors locked from the inside, windows secure, pets unharmed, suggesting no violent intrusion. Forensic teams combed the home for trace evidence, hair, fibers, DNA, but found nothing unusual. It was as if the family simply vanished without leaving a trace. Investigators also reviewed neighborhood security cameras. Footage from surrounding homes showed ordinary activity, neighbors walking dogs, cars passing by, and children playing, but no one entering or leaving the Madsen home after 10 p.m. Intriguing question. Could a human hand orchestrate such a perfect disappearance? Or was there something else at play? When authorities compared all the cases, a series of unsettling patterns emerged. Timing. Every family vanished overnight, often during hours when the household should have been asleep. Environment. Most disappearances occurred in semi-isolated areas, rural towns, suburbs with low foot traffic, or quiet streets. Household items left behind. Personal belongings, cars, pets, and valuables were consistently left untouched. Community response. In every case, neighbors noticed nothing out of the ordinary the night before, creating a chilling sense of normalcy before the vanishing. Patterns suggested planning, knowledge, or influence, but by whom or what remained a mystery. In some cases, neighbors reported faint, inexplicable phenomena, lights flickering in the homes before the families vanished, figures glimpsed in windows, but no one at the door. Strange sounds, soft whispers, footsteps, or sudden silences. One elderly neighbor in Oregon claimed to see a glimmering figure outside the Hargrove home. Yet when police arrived moments later, there was nothing. Could it have been a hallucination or a clue to the mechanism behind these vanishings? Investigators began asking, are these disappearances purely human in origin? Or is there something else orchestrating these events? Despite extensive investigations, questions remain unanswered. How could entire families vanish without leaving a trace? Were the disappearances simultaneous or connected across regions? Why were only certain families targeted? What role, if any, did outside observers or neighbors play? Were these vanishings random acts of malice or part of a larger, incomprehensible plan? Every theory seemed plausible and yet insufficient, leaving a chilling void of uncertainty. Authorities and experts proposed several more complex ideas. Abduction by highly skilled professionals. The precision of the disappearances suggested an unseen force capable of bypassing security systems and executing flawless operations, temporal or spatial anomalies. A few fringe researchers speculated about unknown scientific phenomena, time lapses, wormholes, or localized reality distortions, psychological influence. Some believe the families may have been manipulated through threats, persuasion, or hypnotic suggestion into leaving voluntarily. Though no evidence of coercion was ever found, the more experts investigated, the more the phenomenon resembled something beyond ordinary human capability. The emotional toll on communities was devastating. Families left behind, neighbors in shock, police in despair, and small towns in fear. Friends of the Madsens refused to enter their home for weeks. Convinced something malevolent had occurred, local schools and businesses in affected areas reported heightened anxiety. With children afraid to walk alone, media coverage sensationalized the events, spreading panic and speculation nationwide. One psychologist described it best: when entire households vanish overnight, it shakes the foundation of trust in reality itself. People begin questioning whether the world is truly as it seems. Some disappearances were eventually solved, though the explanations were often bizarre. A family found in a remote cabin miles away, claiming they were convinced to leave home due to threats from a stranger, though investigators found no proof. Another discovered living under assumed identities, having voluntarily left, citing fear of perceived threats. Yet, in most cases, no explanation has ever been found. Families remain missing, evidence is scarce, and the public is left with lingering questions. Could a single orchestrator, unseen and meticulous, be responsible for multiple vanishings? Or is this a series of unrelated yet coincidentally similar events? The vanishings of entire families overnight remain one of the most unsettling mysteries of modern times. These cases defy logic, challenge investigators, and force us to confront the possibility that the world is far stranger than it appears. Could the disappearances be human-engineered, the work of someone or some group with extreme knowledge and skill? Could they be supernatural or scientifically inexplicable phenomena? Or are these simply tragic coincidences magnified by fear and speculation? One thing is certain: these stories leave more questions than answers, and each unanswered question deepens the intrigue. What do you think happened to these families? Were they taken, convinced to leave, or erased by forces beyond comprehension? Comment your theories below, and subscribe to uncover more true crime stories that will make you question reality itself.